was way too happy.
Woo-wee! What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Lines Out of Water podcast. I'm Nathan Blank.
I'm Caden Parisian, and we got some topics to talk about today.
Weather's getting colder here. It is now into November. We've seen some really weird weather. I mean, before Halloween, there was snow on the ground. I thought it wasn't going to leave. Now it's melted. It's actually getting warmer next week.
Yeah, we've heard people ice fishing before Halloween, which is really weird in some places, and now people are open water fishing again. I don't know
what's going on there.
Yeah.
I put all my open water stuff away. I converted my live imaging pool over to ice fishing, and now I'm going open water fishing again next week because it is nicer weather. But anyway, we have a lot to talk about today. Not a lot. We had the ice fishing show that recently happened.
Yep.
We have things we want to talk about coming for this ice season. We have some other things we want to talk about, augers and rods. So stay tuned, get yourself comfortable, and let's get started. So first off, the ice fishing show. The Winnipeg Ice Fishing Show happened on the 4th and the 5th on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. I was not able to go, but you were able to go, representing the brand. That was good.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, the Winnipeg Ice Fishing Show is just a big convention. A lot of big names and brands come over, basically just showcase products that they have, get to talk to people. A lot of fun, a lot of activities you can do. So you want to tell us a little bit what your experience was there?
Yeah, it was lots of fun, really. Me and my dad went, like we said, representing the brand. I was wearing a Lines Out of Water podcast.
The lanyard, yes, sir.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Check those pics on Instagram.
Yeah, and for the past, we went about 2 years ago, me and Nathan, something like that, I don't remember. But we went around that time, and we saw some big name faces there, Jay Siemens and all those guys, right? And it was not busy at all. Like, we could, walk around freely, go touch all the cool gadgets and gizmos and stuff. And yeah, over the years it's gotten a lot busier. People have started to get into the fishing world, I would say, and they started to recognize the ice fishing show, and they went there, and this year was just nuts. It was shoulder to shoulder everywhere. It was nuts. Like, you could not get around there. In some booths there was lineups to look at stuff, and there was lineups to pay, and they were both across the convention center there. It was nuts. It was ridiculous, but it was really cool talking to a lot of familiar faces and some big name faces as well. So
if you want to check out the pics of everyone you got to meet, that'll be on Instagram again. But of all the names, because there were some big names there. There was guides. There was Nick Linder. There's just reps and all. There's a lot of people. I haven't seen that many faces. Gussie was there. That's James Bruce. I was not expecting that at all. But of all the people you talked to, who would you say you had the best interaction or the best conversation with?
Probably Clayton Schick. Me and Clayton Schick talked after I went to the Frostbite booth. Talked to a few guys there. That was also cool. Went over to the Huntfish Manitoba booth, and Clayton Schick was there. And we got talking about big videos that he has planned this winter and stuff like that. We also got talking into guiding for myself, something that interests me for summer guiding at different lodges and everything. So it was really neat to talk to him about his experiences fishing and everything, and just plans for the winter. It was really neat.
Yeah, great convention held by some great people. I knew some people who volunteered and worked in it. They said it all went smooth, so should see it running back in the future. So if you have never heard of the Winnipeg Ice Fishing Show, go check it out on social media. If you've never gone, I would highly recommend you do. It's just a great experience, lots of fun. Definitely gets you hyped for the coming seasons.
E40's?
E40's.
Yes, sir.
So kind of going off the last podcast, we were talking about augers, we were talking about rods, we talked about all the Lake Winnipeg fundamentals, kind of just going over a brief overview of everything we prefer on the big windy lake, known as Lake Winnipeg. And at one point we were talking about augers. So first off, Jiffy. I had said torch for whatever reason for the electric auger. It's the Jiffy Rogue. I apologize. So I just had a major brain fart there. So Jiffy Rogue, we were talking about the E40's, we were talking about the Alphas, the D2s, all that sort of stuff. And I had mentioned that I hadn't yet held or spun the E40. And not too long ago I did. So at work, we had them on display, and I got to pick one up and look at it for the first time. And for one, it is less than 14 pounds. Like, they're not kidding.
Yeah.
Like, the alphas are 16 or 22 pounds, depending on the size of flights you get. But I'm not kidding you. When I held a 24 volt, which is like 14 point something pounds, comparing it to a 10-inch flight of an E40 was absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a 24 volt and a 40 volt, same weight. I mean, that's pretty awesome, first of all. One thing I will say is that when I spun it, it's definitely loud.
It's really loud.
It is loud. It just has a ring to it. I mean, it's definitely not as loud as a gas-powered auger, don't get me wrong.
Oh, no.
But comparing it to the Alpha, it's loud.
Yeah.
And I think the reason of that is, I think they took the cushioning out of the head that silences it. Because you look at the Alpha, it has a big bulky head, but it's quiet.
Same with the Strike Masters too. Like
Same
the
with the
Strike
Strike
Master
Masters.
heads are a lot bigger, but the E40's is like maybe like that, not even. Like it's super small. So
it's small.
Yeah. Eskimo took out all the stuff that you really didn't need to make it that much lighter. Like, you know, like the insulation and stuff like that. So you didn't really need that. So they took it out and
You're just sacrificing, I mean, a few things, but I think they just try to make it as light as possible.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly what they're completely going for, but that seems like it is absolutely like incredibly light. One thing I will mention too is that the batteries for the E40 work in what auger?
the Alphas.
The Alpha. Yeah. It works in an Alpha, so you can take the E40 battery, put it in an Alpha, and start spinning, and it'll work. Just putting that out there. Super weird. If you're ever in need of a battery and your buddy has like, I don't know how that works, what they did, but those batteries work. So that's something to keep in mind. But I mean, yeah, I sold a lot. Like, we saw a lot sold at the show and then at work too. So, I mean, we're going to be seeing and hearing people with them on the ice, whether or not they like them or dislike them. Time will tell. So,
even when I was at the Winnipeg Ice Fishing Show there and I was walking around the Eskimo booth, you could hear it. Like, I was walking around doing something else and all you hear is the E40 going. I was like, yeah, I know exactly what that was right away. But it's a super slick looking auger though. Like, it's really sharp. Yeah, really sharp.
The composite flighting looks exactly like an Alpha. You can bend it. It comes in a steel flight.
Yeah.
I would get the 10-inch. I mean, I'll always probably from now on have a 10-inch auger. You're sacrificing a little bit of, like, you'll get less holes on a charge, but I don't know. It's easier for putting the pole. If you have a 2D transducer, you don't necessarily have to pull it out every time. Fish can turn around the hole. I'll always have a 10-inch auger, personally.
Yeah, that's the one thing you're sacrificing if you're going for like a smaller game fish or whatever, like crappie or perch or, you know, small walleyes. They can obviously turn around easily in a 10-inch hole than an 8-inch hole or a 6-inch hole. But I mean, when you get, you know, if you hook into a monster 40-inch pike, you want to get it up the hole, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing you're sacrificing.
Yeah. And I mean, another thing too is the longevity wise. I mean, how long is this thing gonna last?
Exactly.
My G2s last for like at least 3 seasons now, something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you could have a great auger that only works for a year because they did something with the components to alter it from lasting that long. So I guess time will tell with that. So the E40s we will talk about again in the future eventually.
And see where they go. Exactly.
While we're going on into the past podcast, I also want to bring up rods again.
Yes.
Because for one, social media, as we know, has completely changed everything. But it also goes in the fishing world, like influence and people that you can see, major companies, they're influencing us every day. Why you should buy their product as opposed to someone else's product. And when I think of companies that have done a very good job of that, it'd be Frostbite.
100%.
Frostbite.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it came out of nowhere, but I mean, they posted their very first video, like, 3 years ago? It was like, ice rods are here. It's Aaron Weave holding up the rods with AP Bassett. And I have to say, for reps or for people who normal consumers look up to, I mean, the Frostbite team, like, had it all. They had Justin Jenkins at one point.
Yeah.
They have Clayton Schick, Jay Siemens, Mr. Tully, Aaron, who knows at this point.
He kind of fell off the face of the earth.
Yeah, he kind of fell off the face of the earth.
Kingsland.
There's a few other people, but for social media names, I mean, maybe like there's different companies obviously that are big ones like Northland. But for rods specifically, I can think of, especially like here in Manitoba, I would think that Frostbite has the best set of reps or whatever you want to call them, people that showcase their rods. Influencers. And the influencers have done a very good job of that.
Yeah,
people are wanting to buy Frostbite rods because a lot of people love Jay Siemens and Clayton Schick and all that. And I have to ask you, personally, like, if you didn't know, or the backstory of frostbite, if you literally just you picked up the rod, you're using the rod, you didn't know any of the story, would you still think that it meets the hype of what frostbite hypes it up to be?
Honestly, reading the descriptions of the rods for sure. Like ever since I bought the frostbite rod 2 years ago, I want to say, when the first time we went to the ice fishing show, I love the length. Like the length of it just really gets me. Like I grew up, fishing with 28, 26-inch rods, little short ice fishing rods, right? And ever since they introduced these longer rods, like you have the 50-inch rods, like those are really long. And I never thought I would use, something over 30 inches. But ever since I'm using the 39, 39 mediums all the way around. It's been a game changer, especially for, fighting for bigger fish. And it's just a lot better feeling when you have a longer rod. But like you said, like they have 2 series as well. Like one of them, you can bend the guides on the rod. Like that is a huge game changer too, especially like for ice buildup and everything. And that's probably like, I know maybe a couple of other companies that do that, but other than that, I don't know many other companies that have the guides, like the titanium guides. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
One thing, I used to do this. Like I don't have any rods with titanium. I have either the Medallion series or the Twilight series frostbite rods, but I used to, for whatever reason, cut off the ice with a knife. Like, why did I do that? I don't know.
Ouch.
Like, you have to suck on it.
Yeah. It sounds weird, and it sounds, but it works.
What do you mean it sounds, yeah?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
It's not podcast friendly.
Don't do it near your buddy's bed. You have to suck it off.
They'll make fun of you for that. But, yeah, it does work because sometimes, like, you'll be trying to flake it off with
a knife.
A knife, or your fingers too. Like you can kind of like pick at it or whatever. But I don't know how many rod tips I've breaking doing that. I have done it with a knife, but I've done it with my fingertips. Taking that off, and because of how cold it is in Manitoba, you start picking at your rod tip, and then all of a sudden you're holding your rod tip in your hand, and you're like, oh, it just fell apart.
Moral of the story: don't give your rod tip a purple nurple. Moving on, going back to rods, I would say. Specifically talking about frostbite, I would say it's kind of tough. I would say they maybe hype it up a little bit more than what the rods are. They're expensive rods. One company that has done a good job, and like they're like a lot more solely like physics and like science based when building their rods. Elliott rods. You look at like the manufacturing that goes behind the scenes and all that. I've never held an Elliott. Oh, I've held an Elliott rod, but I've never used one on the ice, and that's something I might want to look into this winter. But yeah, the influence that these companies have on the consumers now, customers now, with all the social media and all that. You all go on Instagram and just scroll and look at all the fishing stuff. But yeah, I would say there's certain companies that live up to the hype, and certain companies that wouldn't. And that's something. We have to be careful too. It could just be a big name that's repping a rod that's really not a good rod. The company's spending all this money just to get them to say they like it. So.
Right, exactly. Especially getting big name faces to showcase the rod, like oh my God, we love J. Siemens. J. Siemens using this rod, we should use it, right? And then you use it, and then it's just, it's not what they say it is, But yeah, with the frostbite rods, like you were saying, they they do live up to their standards and what they say about it. But yeah, I personally do love the frostbite rods.
Yeah, just be careful looking for bias. Obviously, all companies will be biased with their product. Go on Google, look up like forums and like Reddit and whatever, conversations about sort of things. That's what I always do if you want a brutal opinion. Sometimes you'll get people that have either like a really bad experience and they'll go on it. If they have a good experience, they won't like go on any website or else talk about it. Right. It's usually if something bad happens. But that's something to keep in mind. It's just when you're shopping for rod or looking at all this stuff, just look at the actual quality of the rod. Don't look at what everyone else has to say for it. Like look at specific details and what it truly says it has to offer. So that's just something I want to talk about. Something to keep in mind.
You got it. Spot on.
So, did you snap at me?
No.
Okay.
Like we said, with this weather, how it's weird and how it's raining outside. It's +3 and we're getting into positives this week, but we're thinking about what lakes are going to freeze first. Go.
So, obviously, like Lake Superior is going to freeze a lot slower than Reynolds Ponds. So, a lot of it has to do with the size. And the depth of the lake. So yeah, I mean Reynolds ponds. If you go to Lactabani ponds, like ponds are the first things that are gonna freeze. You go, I mean, if you go up north too, obviously, like compared to down here, they're gonna freeze faster. But generally in southern Manitoba, it's gonna be ponds. So even the strawberry ponds and all that sort of stuff. A lot of first ice for people, if they're staying down here, is gonna be trout fishing. You're going to ponds
for sure.
So that's with your jawjackers, your light setups, going for your tiger trout, brook trout, lake trout will be in bigger lakes, not in ponds, but your stock trout and all that. So we might have to consider doing a trip somewhere. The problem with ponds, though, is ponds are only so big because they freeze so fast, and it'll get overfished pretty easily if a lot of people are going for first ice there. I can give examples, like I was saying, Reynolds ponds, strawberry ponds, and Lactabani ponds. You get like 4 people on the ice there, and it's crowded. That's considered crowded, basically.
And that's like a daily basis thing. Like Lactabani ponds, like you can't miss it. It's right on the highway, so it's super easy. Like, hey, what's over here? You know, we go fish this, and you know, some people don't handle fish like the proper catch and release techniques for fish as well. So it also puts pressure on the fish that has been caught already. And I don't know how many times we've seen a lure, especially Reynolds. Like there's, you know, on a summer weekend, it's just ridiculous there, the amount of people there. So yeah, not enough people do practice the proper catch and release techniques for those fish, which makes them more pressured. But, you know, that saying, going up north, you know, 4 or 5 plus hours north to the ponds, people really don't drive 4 or 5 hours north, you know, to go fishing for a weekend. But, you know, the hardcore, hard enduro ice fishermen do. So, you know, going up north, finding your more remote, secluded lakes are probably going to be the ones that are going to freeze first, and you probably have a better chance of catching, you know, some good sized trout. Like last year we went to Footprint. You can watch the videos on both of our channels. And we all caught our personal best rainbows. Like they weren't big by any means, but they were, you know, mid-teens.
What would you say, like 6?
I'd say 16s, 15s, yeah, but they were decent, you know, decent trout, which was really nice for a change instead of going to Reynolds and catching little trout about that big. So,
So if you're staying down here for first ice, keep in mind the time of day you go, time of the week. If you go in the middle of the week, obviously it's going to be better than going on the weekend when it's first ice. So, I mean, for one thing, pressure. Obviously, a pond or a water body can only withstand so much before it goes past the breaking point, and that's set back ecologically, and that can't naturally recover. So when you have fish that, however, have been caught a few times and they're still alive, they've been released properly at least, and they've survived, they become more mouth shut, basically. And I do like that, honestly, because it makes me, someone who kind of knows more about the biology of fish and different lures and all that, I have a better chance of catching as opposed to someone who goes up there with a bobber and a worm bottom or whatever, and the fish have seen a million of those, and that person doesn't catch anything and they go away. Whereas someone like me, I'll go try hard on a certain water body, use what I know, and it's just a little easier. So
use different techniques.
It's a different class that gets to catch those fish, basically, is what I'm getting at. So.
It's really rewarding when you know, catch something on. Catch a fish that, you know, it hasn't seen much of. So that's really nice.
And then you post it on social media, tell everyone to get a piece of this.
Boom. You got it.
Yeah. So with that, I mean, our bucket list trips, I mean, for like this coming weekend, we're going up to the Whiteshell. We're going to do some open water fishing in a back lake known as
Horseshoe. Smallmouth.
It is going to be
huge.
A specialist kind of weekend. We're going to hopefully pull in some masters. That'd be fun.
I didn't guarantee anything.
No, you did.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
A very, very good chance, but
we'll see. So we'll bring our bump boards, camera equipment. I mean, it's supposed to be nice the one day.
Yeah.
We're going to, hopefully get on some fish, have a lot of fun, do some hard drug, do a lot of fishing, trolling, and that is a joke, by the way. That's a joke. Do a lot of fishing, and we'll likely have it to ourselves. I don't think anyone's going to want to drive from Big Whiteshell Lodge, which is where we're staying at, by the way. If you've never been there or ever been in contact with Gary, I highly recommend you do. Amazing cabins, amazing services. Anyway, driving from Big Whiteshell Lodge over to Meditation, hiking into Meditation, going across Meditation, portaging into Horseshoe, and then actually getting on to Horseshoe. So I think we'll be good for that.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Whether or not we film, time will tell. So you guys stay tuned.
Yeah. So I gotta ask you a question.
Oh.
What is a bucket list trip, or like, I wouldn't say dream trip, but like something that you want to do this winter, like for catching fish and where you want to go, kind of thing.
I mean, if I have to be as realistic as possible, or like what I would like to do if I had my way.
Say you had a weekend off and you couldn't go to your cabin or whatever, and you wanted to go, or like a week off or something, what would you do?
Well, if I had a week, I've always wanted to go to Baker's Nose Lodge. That'd be so much fun. I also want to get into an ice castle. That'd be sick. Cool. Yeah. Or a snow bar. Snow bar on Lake Winnipeg, like going up to the North Basin or something, or just getting in an ice castle somewhere. I mean, you could rent them basically anywhere, but I'm not exactly sure what I actually want to happen. Well, I mean, I'd probably want to go for like crappie, honestly. Yeah. Like, even though staying in one spot in a fish house and crappie do not mix at all. That'd be so sick, just chilling out, catching crappie. I don't know, something about it would be pretty sick. Even tip-ups if you're inside the... Yeah. So, I mean, you can go up to the White Shell, you can go to Lac du Bonnet and do that technically. Sure. Yeah. If services were there. But, yeah, super realistically, of what I actually think is going to happen this season is a lot of Lake Winnipeg, good amount of Red River, if I had to be honest, like some after-school Red River trips. And when I have like a few days off here and there, the winter break, we'll hopefully do our big white shell crappie trip with the famous Luke and yeah, so the same old, get some big walleyes, hopefully get a few bigger ones this season, and yeah, I'm really just honestly excited to use the Mega Live more than anything. I just want to catch a bunch of walleye on it and learn a lot more about.
Well, you haven't used the Mega Live ice fishing on Lake Winnipeg.
On Lake Winnipeg, nope. I've not. No. I've used it on the Red. I've used it in the Big White. I've not used it on Lake Winnipeg.
So. Well, you've used it on Lake Winnipeg, but open water, right?
Yeah. Sorry, I've used it a bunch of times open water, but I haven't used it ice fishing Lake Winnipeg. Yeah. Yeah, I want to learn more about their behavior and just different, like how they react to certain things. I want to kind of experiment now that I can like see face to face how they react to certain things, so I kind of branch off and see what works more, see what doesn't, see how it works or stuff like that. So that'll be very interesting, and you'll be along for that. So
awesome. You
don't need to buy a live engineer, you just have me. As long as you have me, that will be good. And yeah, I'm excited for that.
No, that'd be lots of fun.
So hopes, fears, and dreams for the season. Go. Sam Sowie does this a lot.
Hopes, fears, and dreams. Okay, we'll start with fears. Get that out of the way. Fears would probably be... Ooh, this is a good one.
You gotta go hopes, fears, and then dreams. Get in order.
Oh, fine, jeez. Okay, hopes. Hope is to get a walleye class over 28, at least, on Lake Winnipeg or the Red River. I'd be happy on big white shell. Doesn't matter, but something, a big class of that. Hopes. I'll go on to hopes again. Do an overnight trip on Lake Winnipeg. That would be extremely cool. Spending all day into the evening, all night into the morning, and then leave in the afternoon or whatever. That'd be pretty cool. So we'll go to fears, probably for, like Nathan said, on spring break, winter break, whatever you want to call it. So when we go out to big white shell, fears would be getting stuck in the backwoods.
Oh no!
With 3 snowmobiles, and all Luke buried down in the slush. Because me and Luke have experienced that personally, mentally, and physically. So
psychologically is.
Yeah, it was brutal. That's probably one of my biggest fears, is getting stuck. All 3 sleds stuck or stranded. Stranded or lost probably isn't very likely to happen, but mostly just stuck, because then, you start to panic, but you just got to breathe and you got to calm down. And then you start doing some reckless stuff. You start yanking on stuff and it's cold, and then stuff starts to break. And then, it doesn't happen. Like, it just doesn't go the way you plan when stuff goes south. But hopes, fears, dreams.
You were so slow at this, first of all.
Hey, I'm thinking here, man.
Like, it literally takes him like 15 seconds.
I know.
Anyway, keep going.
Dreams. I don't don't know. This is a good one.
How is this hard?
I don't know. I haven't thought about this.
Why are you struggling with this?
I don't know. Dreams. I'll just branch on to fishing again. Dreams is to pull up a 38 plus inch pike through the ice this winter. Spring break fishing.
30 what?
38 inch plus.
38. What happened to 40?
Sorry, 40 plus. We'll just say 40 plus.
Yeah, what? That's
I wanted to keep my standards low, but no. We'll
it's a dream, King.
Okay, dream, fine. 40 inch pike through the ice this winter.
Okay.
Spring break.
My hopes.
Stay tuned.
Okay, so I'm more of a humble guy. This kid just like wants everything under the sun. My hope is that I can just get out a decent amount, just have some fun. I just want to be able to go ice fishing. I don't want anything to like cause it. So I go like twice this season. That'd be very sad. My fear is that I just don't get to go at all, or like one of my big ticket items just like breaks, whether I like rip a tent or I like
damage
transmission goes out in the quad, or I break both my rods in the car door or something stupid.
Get your van stuck in a ditch again.
Or we don't talk. Actually, we're gonna talk about that actually in a second.
I forgot up some pictures of that. That's hilarious.
Yeah. So breaking rods, something like that, losing or breaking my megalith, I would probably, I would go into a severe state of
depression.
Vegetable. I would just my body would just shut down. So yeah, that's and then the dreams, nice 30 plus walleye, 40 plus pike. 17 inch crappie.
I was gonna say
22 inch bass. Let's just say big numbers of fish. Yeah. But actually, I completely forgot about that. Let's talk about that. So flashback with us. So pay very close attention. There's a lesson in here. You just gotta look for it.
There's a story.
There's a lesson in my story. So we're driving. It's in the middle of January. And we are going to the Red River. We're going on a side we've never gone before. It's not remote. People don't really go there.
No.
You kind of gotta not hike, but you gotta go over a big hill and you're on the river. It'd be very good, like first ice. I actually want to try there.
The structure on that part of the river is really nice. That's why we decided to go there. But yeah, carry on.
So we're doing a loop-de-loop. We were just across the bridge. I remember that, and we were going we're turning on to what's that road called again? Anyway, we're just doing a big loop field. All of a sudden, I'm like, I don't know. This is a very stupid statement. Caden, did you grab my boots? I look at Caden. Caden looks at me. No, I did not grab your boots.
Why would I grab your boots?
Why would
your boots?
Exactly. And I'm thinking that too. I'm like, why would Caden grab my boots? So I'm in a severe panic. I'm like, oh my god. I'm wearing sandals, keep in mind, for driving. So that was not good at all. So I'm like, oh crap. So we get to the spot. Actually, we didn't even make it to the spot.
No, we were almost there, and you're like,
almost
did you
there.
grab my boots?
Yeah, so I didn't check, but I basically kind of knew they were not in the back. So that was awesome. So we pulled into the road. I'm already pissed off. And so the way the road was plowed, it was even. So the ditch that goes down was plowed even of snow.
It looked like a big road.
It basically looked like a giant road. Just the ditch was white and the main gravel road was like a brown.
It was white too, but
it was a little more brown. Yeah, it was white. So Caden goes, Nathan, pull over there. We'll haul there. Okay. So I start to go right, and all of a sudden the van wanted to do this. It started tilting.
Yeah.
I'm going like that, sporadically, trying to get out. No, we were in a ditch.
I couldn't open my door.
Caden could open his door. I was on my side. Oh, I'm starting to remember the story now. And yeah, it was very bad. We were severely stuck. So
Can we just point something out here? I said to go straight, and we went right. I don't know how that happened, but carry on.
So yeah, I was panicking. We called the tow truck company. How much would this cost? Our friend said $200. I'm like, okay, hang up the phone. Not dealing with that. Call my father. Dad, what do I do here? As I'm kind of about, or I didn't yet call him, I was kind of about to. As that happens, we happened to do that right in front of someone's house. So this poor guy was sitting, watching on his window, watched two knuckleheads basically drive into a ditch. So he came out, super nice guy, I wish I got his name. Said, hey, you guys stuck? I mean, I'm almost in tears. I feel so stupid. I'm like, yeah. He's like, okay. So he brings her. He goes back to grab some, he's gonna help us out. So he had a Ford van, like a work van,
like a kidnapping van.
Kidnapping van.
Yeah.
Think of a white van,
Black.
but it was blue.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh. So he grabs his tow hitch and whatever. apologies there, the video cut. We're gonna get right back into the story. So where was I? Yeah, so the guy went back to his house. He went to grab a tow hitch or like a rope, like a towing rope, basically. He came back. We kind of like half shoveled it out. Keep in mind I'm in sandals and I have a jacket and bibs on. I looked really stupid, first of all. And he attaches it on the back of the van. And he was basically just going forward. I have to steer back onto the road. And I'm so flustered. I'm so flustered with everything that's going on. I'm just like freaking out with everything because I think like first of all, I ripped off my muffler actually.
Yeah.
From doing that.
Yeah.
So I had a really dope sounding rear-wheel drive van for a bit. But yeah. So yeah, I didn't notice that later, but I'm like, oh, something's probably broken. I'm really nervous. What if we can't get this out? Worst comes to worst. We're stranded. I'm gonna die. Everything like that. So I'm so flustered. The guy asks, "Are you ready?" And what do I ask? Which way do I turn the wheel? So,
Oh boy.
like, obviously you would think, yeah, you turn onto the road, so the wheel is coming on the road. I was so, like, I didn't know which way to turn the wheel. I was so flustered. So the guy looks at me in, like, a combination of shock and horror.
Disbelief.
In disbelief that I just asked that. I don't even know what he says. Like he said, like yeah, to the road. Kind of condescendingly. I don't blame him.
I think I said to the road, and he's like, "Yeah, you pointed to the road."
So yeah, so get in the bag. He went forward. He pulled it out, no problem. Shook the guy's hand. Super nice guy.
I even offered him money too. I even offered a little bit because he pulled this out, but
he did not want to have to deal with that crap in the middle of like a Wednesday or something, whatever. So yeah, we got out. We go fishing. I used on my feet. Caden happened to have house slippers that happen to have a little bit of fur inside them. And that is what I wore ice fishing. I swear to God, I have videos on my Instagram.
they were hard bottom, so like you were good for snow until it got deep.
And it was going down a hill, and then we didn't realize coming back, we had to go up a hill pulling sleds. It was not good at all. So your boy was ice fishing in January in slippers. I could say I've done that.
It was probably like the hardest laugh I've ever had trying to get up the hill. Nathan's trying to push with slippers with no traction. And I'm pulling, I'm dying of laughter trying to get it up. And we're just sitting there on half of a hill, like we're right here on like almost there. And we just lose it.
Oh my God. I have zero traction.
So funny.
I had the biggest booter of my life.
Well, when we drilled holes, there was so much snow that it turned really slushy in the tent, and you were like this the whole trip, just sitting there.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God, that was hilarious.
Oh,
that's too funny.
Like if we like specifically spend a podcast, which we probably will in the future, just going stories, we'll have a lot more to tell. But yeah, that was funny. But where were we? We were at Hopes, Fears, and Dreams.
Yeah.
Dreams, catch a huge fish, 22-inch bass, 17, 18-inch crappie, 30-plus walleye, and 40-plus pike. That'd be my dream. That'd be super cool. So yeah, bucket list, if I had to, Baker's Nose Lodge. Realistically, a lot of walleyes this winter, so keep posted on both of our social media channels for that when that comes out.
Yeah. What else?
I think we're done.
Oh, don't you want to talk about overnight camping for a little bit or no?
Fine. Overnight camping is something that I have not done. We are going to do. That actually is a bucket list.
That's
trip.
a bucket list this winter. We have
a bucket list trip. So, what have I got? I've got a tent. I've got a cabin that if it hits the fan, we can quad back to. So we're good with that. I have the diesel heater ready to try out. So
that'll be cool. That'll actually be really neat to try out this year.
I have carbon monoxide detectors. I don't have cots.
That's the one thing.
I don't have rattle reels. That seems like a good cage job. But
whoa.
And we need mats. We need mats.
I would say, yeah, we could we should go to Cabela's one time and just buy mats and cots. But I don't think
Canadian Tire thing.
Oh yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't think we need rattle reels because all we need to do literally is just tie our fishing line to our toes. And just have our toes hanging out.
The dogs.
Have the dogs do the work all night. But yeah, honestly, bells would work fine with rods.
Yeah.
But
I mean, Lake Winnipeg though, you gotta think the amount of burbot they'll probably just be towing us all night long. That big toe's gonna be sore from
the hook sets.
from the
Right off the cot, I won't have to leave the comfort of my bed.
middle of a dream. You feel the dog.
No, that'll be lots of fun. Stay tuned for that though.
I feel like, okay, knowing me, I'd probably like forget blankets or something. Be one heck of a sleep in the bibs. We'd have the Mega Live running. Well, not all night, but like
Most of the night.
that'd be pretty cool. Because we'd have one screen, we'd have mats. We'd have to. I mean, it depends how slushy it is. Depends how much snow. We'd clear the snow before we put the tent over.
Mm-hmm.
We'd have quads for whatever, and I think everything else like we'd have to get a few days or 1 or 2 days, like a weekend.
Yeah.
So that'd be really sick. And it just it
Yeah.
cannot be cold. So might have to do that like.
If it's like honestly
Just-
minus 15, minus 20 overnight, that's perfect. Honestly. Like,
Yeah, because I don't want to wait till March, because in case we don't get a chance to do it, I'd much rather try it in like a fluke day in January where it's warm or something. Like
January, yeah,
that. And yeah, that's something I really want to try. It'd be an experience to save dinner.
for sure.
I don't know. I've fished for a long time. I've never just overnight fished. I don't know. I've always just gone back to the cabin when I'm at the lake. I mean,
Yeah.
why do I stay out there?
Yeah, I fished through the night like a couple times, and I haven't had that like too much luck. But that was that big whiteshell. Keep in mind, so you know, Lake Winnipeg might be a different story because of the population of burbot in that lake. So I mean, yeah, that'll be lots of fun though, for sure.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for that.
And the burbot are probably pretty difficult, so that'd be pretty sick. But yeah. Sorry, I had to put that one there. But yeah, generally what I would do is it'd be like 10 or 9 or 10. I'd drive back to the cabin and sleep in a warm bed, wake up at like 6:37, just call back out. I never really had the need to overnight camp, but I want to try it.
That'll be lots of fun.
That's a bucket list thing. That's a bucket. You want to fight?
Okay.
Okay, sorry.
Different channel.
Yeah. If you guys want to go subscribe to the Lions Out of Order podcast, scrapping clips, that'll be linked in the description. Disagreement. Okay. Sorry. Getting a little bit off topic here.
I think that's a cue
I think that's the cue.
when we get off topic.
That's, yeah. That's everything I want to talk about. Is that anything you want to add?
No, not really.
Nice and short one here.
Not everything.
We have a lot more to do here. We've got a lot more trips. A lot more podcast ideas coming up in the near future, so stay tuned for the Lions Out of War podcast. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you follow us on Spotify, X, Instagram, TikTok, social medias. Your boys are on there. Stay tuned. Hit that bell for when we post next. We will see you guys in the next one. I'm Nathan Blank,
I'm Kane Parisian, and we'll see you on the next one.
signing out.